G'day guys, Skits here, and today I'm going to be talking about the newly revealed MMORPG, The Elder Scrolls Online, which has been really highly talked about since E3. But today what I wanted to base my commentary on is the top 10 reasons why you guys should be interested in buying it. Now, keep in mind that this isn't my normal commentary. This might not suit everyone, but I just wanted to make this video because this game, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan. I thought this would be a pretty interesting thing to talk about. Keep in mind, guys, not much info has been released yet, so, you know, there's still a lot more information to come and all that kind of stuff, and all of what I'm going to say is fact and confirmed. Now, a lot of the stuff you guys are going to be hearing isn't actually my personal opinion. It's just more, it's kind of what's been released by trailers and interviews and all that kind of stuff, and the kind of top 10 things that I'm excited for. So anyway, guys, let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is the endgame content. Now, this is one of the biggest issues in World of Warcraft's recent expansion. I will bring in WoW quite a lot throughout this video, and I do apologize for that, but it's definitely a good game to compare with a lot of modern-day MMOs. Now, one of the biggest issues in Cataclysm, World of Warcraft Cataclysm, was the lack of endgame content. Once you got to level 85, you found yourself a little bit bored, and I know it's like that with a lot of MMORPGs, and what, I'm not exactly sure what his name was, but one of the lead designers here at Elder Scrolls Online actually said was that they're going to have a lot of endgame content, and I'm really excited for that. They said they're going to be really focusing on endgame content as quite a priority for them in terms of, PvP. PvP is going to be like bigger than ever, they said, and raiding and all that kind of stuff. So it's the type of stuff we are used to seeing, PvP and raiding, but they really want to make it quite a prominent part of Elder Scrolls Online. So that's definitely an interesting thing to consider. Now, coming in at number 9 is the storyline. Now, this is something that I can't really talk about too much because they haven't said much about this at all, but they did say, and this is just a quote from one of them, is, "It's a story of your own." So that really kind of makes me kind of wonder, how the game is going to play, even though it's an MMO. Like, we're all very used to playing Elder Scrolls games in kind of an RPG form, but, trying to make a storyline out of an MMO might not be too easy for them, but they did say that they're going to try and make two different ways of sort of playing through the game. So they want it to be a very based around playing with friends and a very social game. With that said, you can play through the storyline, and when you do, generally you won't be playing with friends, because they did want to kind of add the whole storyline part into it, but they didn't want to make it too kind of involved and too kind of easy to play with your mates. Now for number 8, guys. Now, this is something that a lot of people probably don't really think about at all, especially when purchasing a game, but that is the production value. Now, we do know Bethesda are quite far behind this game, but ZeniMax are kind of sort of making it, and they are basing a lot of their things on what Bethesda want. Now, we know that Skyrim was an amazing game. We know the whole Elder Scrolls series was amazing. We know Fallout was amazing, which Bethesda made. Hopefully, you guys didn't forget about that. So, we do know that Bethesda can make great games, and they know that we know that this game has been in production since 2007. I feel like for the last 5 years I really should have known about this, but it's kind of good in a way because we haven't had to wait so long. But it definitely is an exciting thing to think about. It's just, the guys who are making it, the guys who are behind it, and they really know what they're doing. Now, at number 7 is something that is very interesting for me personally, is actually the visuals. Now, I'm not talking necessarily about the graphics, although I will get into that a little bit later. But the main thing I wanted to speak about is this kind of UI thing they've added into the game. Now, basically what they wanted it to be was a more free game, and where you can kind of explore more and feel as though you're, as I said, more free, so you can kind of explore the world and look out. One of my issues with World of Warcraft is you feel really compact, and there's kind of, your skills are everywhere, there's things going on everywhere, and you can't really see everything so well. I mean, I know that's a bit of a silly thing to say, but you just feels a bit kind of tucked in, you just feel a bit too kind of confined in the amount of space you have on your little hotbar and all that kind of stuff. What they've done is they've really made the UI, and if you've seen gameplay of this, you'll know what I mean. They've made it very small, so that it's very hard to recognize unless you actually put your cursor over it, your mouse cursor over your skill bar. You can't actually see it, which might sound like a bad thing to you guys, but they have talked about how it is going to work in combat and all that kind of stuff. Now, I wanted to quickly get into the actual visuals of the game. A lot of people are complaining about it, saying it looks too cartoony and all that kind of stuff, but at the moment, I'm excited to see how it's going to look, because we do know that Skyrim was a very beautiful looking game, and also Morrowind and Fallout, all those games were very good looking games, so I'm definitely excited to see how the game looks visually. Now, coming in at number 6 is the skills. Now, they've really kind of they've talked about in interviews how they really wanted to change the skills and make them a little bit more kind of personal for you. So, what they said is, they as you can see, or sorry, as you can't see, unfortunately, I've got no gameplay for it, guys. This is just Skyrim gameplay. But basically what they've done is they've made it so that you only have very limited number of skills, and you can basically slot in skills for how you want to play the game. So you can choose between any skills you want personally, as opposed to a different person. So in World of Warcraft, if I was a mage, I'm going to have the exact same skills as another mage, with the exception of a few other little things like that. Luckily, in the Elder Scrolls Online, they're making it so that every class can have different skill slots. So I'm really excited for that. They said that your skills get better as you use them. So the more you use your skills, the better they get. And all characters can use all weapons. That's definitely something to look out for, guys, because they did mention in particular that, you know, if I was a mage, I could use a bow and arrow. So that's definitely something to look out for, and definitely I'm excited to see how that's going to go. It's definitely going to add a lot of depth and variety into the game. Now, something I just want to quickly mention, just to back up my statement there, is that it could really add a lot of replay value to the game. So it means that if I want to be I don't know what classes they have at the moment, but if I want to be a mage, basically I can play through the game with I don't know, maybe a sword, and on the other hand, I can play through the game with like a wand or something. So that's definitely something that I'm excited for personally. Now, the next thing that I'm really excited for is the actual classes. Now, we haven't heard too much about this at all at the moment, but they did mention, and we have seen a little trailer of this, is just the amount of customization that there will be in the game, and just how good the classes look. We do know that in previous Elder Scrolls games, you could kind of choose not necessarily a class, but sort of like a spec, sort of like a way of customizing your specific character. So they did mention that there will be a lot of customization to the game, and they said that each class is very different and they play out very differently, and you can really change your class to the way you want it. You can really personalize it to the way you want it. So that's, once again, another really exciting thing to look out for. Now at number 4, guys, is the actual world itself. Now, this is pretty amazing. Just that was actually the first thing that really caught my eye when looking through the trailer and the interviews. They did mention that the whole entire continent of Tamriel is playable. I sound like such a nerd when I say all this, but yeah, they said the whole entire continent of the, you know, Tamriel is playable. So that, you know, that includes Skyrim and Morrowind and all those awesome places we all know and love. So, you know, a lot of us played Skyrim. I'm sure a lot of you guys played Skyrim, and a lot of us played Morrowind. Well, basically, all those places are going to be just little parts of this huge world. So there's going to be a lot of areas to explore and cover through. There's going to be a lot of land, a lot of different places to go to, and obviously each race starts at a different zone, which leads me to our next point, which is races. Right, so basically what ZeniMax have said about races isn't much, but what I can tell you as a fact is that there will be 3 different factions to choose from. Now, we don't exactly know what that means. Obviously, with World of Warcraft, there was Horde and Alliance, which meant that, you know, basically with PvP, it was Horde against Alliance, but the fact that there is 3 factions in the Elder Scrolls Online makes me wonder how it's going to work in terms of PvP and how that's going to work. But it does mean that, you know, certain different races that we all know from previous Elder Scrolls games, like Orcs, Redguards, and Elves, they're all going to be on, you know, different factions and all that kind of stuff. So there will be, you know, a lot of replay value. You can just tell straight from what I've said, because, you know, there's different ways of playing through the game. You know, different races and classes and different combinations you can play. So that's definitely something to look out for. Alright, so coming in at number 2 spot is the combat. Now, this is something that they've really mentioned a lot, and they've really tried to talk about it in kind of, they've actually kind of mocked World of Warcraft subtly when they talked about this, and I want to bring World of Warcraft into this. So if you think of the World of Warcraft combat, it is extremely outdated. I'm not trying to bag on World of Warcraft here. It's an amazing game, but it definitely is outdated. And basically how World of Warcraft works is it's very static. So you sit there, you kind of just auto attack, and it's very static. You do your certain moves and all that kind of stuff. Well, with Elder Scrolls Online, they have added real-time combat, which means they wanted to make it more of a sort of open combat sort of game, so you can move around. Your characters block, and blocking is definitely a important thing. Attack and cast spells like a traditional third-person fantasy game. This is a quote. Giving high hopes for this entry in the franchise. That's what someone said about this game. So yeah, what they've added is, you know, blocks, and you can really play in a more tactical manner than a lot of MMOs. So I'm definitely excited for that. Another great thing about the combat is that you actually get rewarded for helping people out, like in Guild Wars 2. So if someone, you know, is getting killed by like certain things in the world, you can basically jump in, help him out. You'll get heaps of XP for that, just for helping me out. So that's a really nice thing to add into the combat. And now to number 1, guys, and the number 1 spot I decided to put was the adaptive quests. Now, this is something that I've wanted in a lot of MMOs, and Guild Wars 2 is really the first MMO to properly introduce this. And this basically means that you can actively explore and basically just walk around the whole, you know, continent of what's it called, Tamriel, and I just don't want to sound like a nerd here. Yeah, the whole continent of Tamriel, and just kind of do quests as you want. You know, you don't have to kind of grind any quests and all that kind of stuff, and what you do has a noticeable impact on the game. They also said that there's going to be a lot of exploration in the game, and there's going to be moral choices added into the game. So this is basically the top 10 things that I'm personally most excited for Elder Scrolls Online. My personal thoughts about this game is I think it's going to be great. You know, Bethesda haven't disappointed us with any game they've released yet. Obviously, ZeniMax are, you know, they aren't too well known, so we'll have to see how they go. I've personally always wanted an Elder Scrolls MMO. I was recently having a conversation about how I really wanted one, and a lot of people have been talking about World of Warcraft and saying this game is just going to be another WoW clone, but personally, I think it doesn't look, I think it looks nothing like the game, and you know, I'm really excited for it. It's going to be released probably late 2013 is my best bet. I will be released 2013, but I'm guessing maybe December time or something like that. And yeah, you know, Bethesda have proven they can make good RPG games, but my question to you guys is, can they make a good MMO? So huge thanks for watching, guys. I do apologize for the different sort of style of commentary, but I hope you guys didn't mind it. And you know, let me know what you're excited for in the next installment of the Elder Scrolls series, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.